Hey, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I have a wild show today. You know, people are sending me information all the time to verify. It's kind of like I got my own verification thing here about these, like, they're not miracles because they're medical, unless you want to call them a medical miracle, but it's wild testimonies of people's getting put back together again. Now, here's what I'm talking about. This couple I'm going to be interviewing, I haven't talked to them before, Toni and Kerri. I'll find out about them in a minute. But what I want you to see is bring up this matrix testimony. Just bring this one up, Will. Now, yeah, what does the matrix do? Angiogenic, they stimulate look at the before the therapy where the blood vessels are. Now look on the left, and look on the right. You can't, if you're in a podcast, I'm sorry. What you're seeing is like a back lane country road on the left, and then you're seeing an interstate highway with 4 or 5 new highways attached to it. This is like the blood vessels. It's like forming something in the body. Now, you guys are smarter than me, all right? So I'm going to bring up another one. I can't read this one right, but my audience is smart. Before disc degeneration, like, see where those arrows are? And then the after regeneration of disc space. You guys maybe can understand. I don't know what I'm looking at there. So if I had somebody, you guys could educate me. I don't get it. But I certainly see there's a difference. I just don't know what I'm looking at. So you guys that are knowledgeable, take a look at it. That's the before and afters, level 10 matrix, folks. This is just go to level10matrix.com while I'm interviewing this couple. If you're curious about it, 800-361-2270, and join me on this journey, and we're going to find out what in the world's going on with this couple. And we're there right now, so welcome to the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I'm thinking about trying to see if I can get the audio rights to Funiculi Funicula. Dun, 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 dun. It's such a happy song, and it's a silly song. It's about, I don't know, a guy climbing mountains. He goes up, he goes down, he goes up, he goes down. And it's kind of like your life sometimes, you know, or like my hair. It goes up, it goes down. And so, but the health situation, we did the health summit, you know, a little while ago. Many of you loved it, and the health summit was quite a big success. And one of the things we focused on was the stories of people. Now, I'm into like the anti-aging thing. I mean, for me, you know, I don't expect to live forever. I don't want to look like I'm old. I want to feel young, look young, and, you know, go whenever I got to go. But I want to go with vitality. You know what I mean? So I'm studying more and more about every technology that is on the cutting edge. And I keep coming back to the level 10 matrix because of the regenerative qualities of what it produces. And I'm looking at new people with testimonies all the time. I check them down, I verify it, I hunt them down, and I go, did this really happen to you? Bam! I want to bring on Toni and Kerri Helms. Is that how you pronounce Helms?
Yes. That is correct.
Okay. Wait, now, truth be told, we're just meeting each other, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you. This wasn't pre-rehearsed. We didn't get all our lines together. I just got my staff said, hey, Toni has a wild story from bone-on-bone pain, multiple diagnosis, to skiing with your grandkids. You've gone from a serious situation to, and I think that the stem cell revolution here is what had a large part to do with the restoration of you. But I need to know. So, Toni, tell us, what are we talking about here? I know you're skiing with your grandkids, which is great, but what's your story?
So, Lance, I dealt with decades of autoimmune disorders since I was a kid, and so my life was the up and down constantly. And then by the time I was in my 30s, I was diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. So over the course of several years, the disc in my neck, and I'd had a car wreck when I was 20, so it put my neck in an opposite alignment. It's supposed to be like that, and my neck went like that until I was in my 50s. And I was dealing with, so by January of 2018, I found myself in a situation where I was literally bone on bone at the sacrum, lumbar area, and in my neck. And I woke up one day and I I couldn't walk for several days. But for the next year and a half, I had lost the ability to pick up my right foot more than just a couple of inches off the ground. It was compressing the nerves so badly. Well, that was January of 2018. So I was 57 at the time. And then February, I had one of the worst autoimmune flare-ups. I'd been diagnosed with 2, and I think I may have had 3 because I had thyroid dysfunction. But I woke up breaking out in hives in February of 2018, and it was a massive autoimmune flare-up. And when I thought I had a little cyst in my right breast, that changed everything. And by April, that little cyst, what I thought, became an avocado-sized tumor in my right breast, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 HER2 breast cancer. So all this time, from January to April, I was in pain management for the back and neck. So I was getting steroid shots in my spine. I was on opioids for pain. And then with the cancer diagnosis, we put all the back surgery on the back burner. And I underwent chemo and immunotherapy for the rest of 2018. I give God all the glory. They couldn't find any tumors whatsoever in my body at the end of 2018. Yet now I had neuropathy that I'd never had before, and it was systemic. The autoimmune was off the charts, and my immune system was completely wiped out, and I was still facing back and neck surgery. So in 2019...
So let me just clarify something here. So you guys are Christians, I assume?
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. So like my audience is mostly Christian, so I just go out and ask this stuff.
Yeah.
So you were praying. Do you think that God heard your prayers and answered your prayers about the? Because we believe that. I mean, I'm for all oars in the water. So do you think God intervened with the guy? That doesn't make sense that you'd have a cancer reverse unless God delivered you.
That's exactly right. And he told me in the journey that he said, I don't want you to try to think yourself well. He says, I want you to lay here and rest and let me heal you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he did. Therefore, I am healed because he said that he would. And then I received the therapy in July of 19. So this is another part of him hearing my prayers. Because 4 months after receiving this therapy, I was walking one day and I heard the Lord say, it's okay if you run. And I laughed and I said, I can't run. I haven't run in 30 years. And he goes, no, it's okay if you run. So I said, well, okay, I wouldn't have thought about this. But if I end up back on the couch, Lord, it's on you. And so I took off running and I ran 1.5 miles without stopping. And I had zero pain anywhere in my body, Lance. 3 months after that is when I went on a ski trip with our oldest daughter and son-in-law and 5 of our 9 grandkids. And I taught 5 grandkids how to ski 7 months after receiving the Matrix. And we're about to go on ski trip number 6. I'm running. I'm biking 4 to 6 miles at a time. This last October, here's how it keeps evolving. So this last October, I went backpacking with that 40-year-old daughter, our oldest, and our oldest granddaughter at 16. I'm 64, by the way. And we backpacked for 25 miles in 4 days with 40-pound packs on our back.
You backpacked for 20-something miles with 40 pounds on your back at 64, and this wouldn't have really been something you would have done before the Matrix, right?
Wouldn't have ever considered it. Would have never considered it.
So what's the deal? I mean, when you look at, is your neck realigned or your spine? I mean, your neck was bent wrong. What happened?
So during the first year after receiving the Matrix in 2019, so into 2020, my neck literally started straightening on its own. I got a brand new disc in my neck, new disc in my back. I don't deal with autoimmune. I don't have tumors. Yeah, there it is. And I'm having the time of my life.
That's the 1-2 punch, ladies and gentlemen. Boom, we believe God for prayer. Boom, God gives us the intervention we need to get our life back. Hey, where do you
Yes.
go? Where do you go for this? Go to level 10. What is it? Bring it up here so I can see it. Level10matrix.com. 800-361-2270. These are real stories from real people. I mean, I'm just talking over the first time right now. Now, if you're listening on my podcast, as we have many that do, you want to call 800-361-2270 and say, Matrix. And I don't know if you can write Matrix in a subject line or on I was going to say Flashpoint, but on Facebook or on Instagram. But yeah, Facebook or Instagram, that works. Just put the word Matrix in there. Then you got some videos for me. Is this you or is this other people? Is there more stories we have or what?
So we have more stories. I can share mine with you, or Carrie can share you.
Do we have any videos? Someone told me I got a video I could see.
So I have some two slides of a woman that I can tell you her story.
All right, let's go.
And I sent those in. So her name is Leela. So she was dealing with type 2, I can say insulin resistance. She was on medications. She had a lot of inflammation in her body. And she was dealing with, she had worn glasses like I did since she was a kid. Oh, by the way, also one of the things that changed for me is I've worn glasses since 4th grade, and I only wear readers now. I can drive at night without glasses, and that's been huge. So Leela, her blood sugar was at 370. Her A1C was 15.1. She had 30% hearing loss, was wearing bifocals, and 1 year after receiving the Matrix, at 66 years of age, her blood sugar was down to 99. Her A1C was at 7.1. Her doctor took her off of all medications for that insulin issue. She did not need to get a hearing aid. She wears readers like I do. She's exercising 4 times a week at the Y with her kids. She's preparing for the Texas Senior Games because last year she won a bronze medal in the 100-meter sprint.
What?
And yes.
All right.
Yes. Also, she had a keloid scar from cancer in her colon in 2015. 2 weeks after receiving the Matrix, the keloid scar was completely gone, has never returned. She couldn't swallow pills of any size prior to the Matrix. And she'd had a surgical procedure earlier in her years to open up her esophagus. A year later, it went right back to its normal situation. And now she has no problems swallowing, what we call horse pills. She got her joy back and energy back. She's planning a trip with some of her kids and her husband to Spain. Actually, she has 3 trips planned this year. So she is a living, breathing testimony of the miracles of God, and she gives glory to God she couldn't even tie her shoes. She couldn't go up and down her stairs.
Listen, I'll have to do an interview with her. Let's get a hold of her, and let me get her story, because there's so many things going on there. I want to hear her tell that. Now, wait a second. Before we go, I only got 7 minutes left, and I just turned a page that says Carrie's comeback. So are you supporting your wife on this broadcast, or do you have your own story about Matrix also?
Both on that. Yes, on both questions. Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, what happened to you?
Well, I tell you, Lance, I come from a background from agriculture. I was riding bulls at Southwest Texas State as a young man. And so as years went by, I got into cowboying and doing everything on horseback. I'll tell you, it was, why walk when you can ride there? And that was my attitude. And so I've done everything on horseback and plus. And so by doing that for 45 years, I got involved with various things. And needless to say, I did have a few pretty good wrecks. Got real Western out there, so I had a good time at it. But
let me just stop for a second. You were a professional bull rider, and
let's say this is an intercollegiate when I was in college.
Oh, so you were in college riding bulls. Now you get thrown off a bull. I imagine that's a pretty violent experience. You're up in the air and land in your butt, your back, your side, or whatever, right?
Yes, and then getting out of the way of those hooves and horns of the bull. Fortunately, we had some good as we call them, rodeo clowns at the time, but we had some good rodeo bull fighters out there with us. So
you're a chiropractor's dream client. You're going to be in a lot. So tell me what happened with you.
So we were doing this matrix one day down in Kerrville, Texas, and I was watching this. Now, understand, I'm from an agricultural background, so I didn't understand a bunch of this stuff they was all doing. And so I walk in this room, and Shirley tells me, "Carrie, sit down. I hurt watching you walk." I said, "All right, Shirley, what do you suggest I do about this?" Now, understand, at that time when she told me that, I could put my feet together on the floor, and you could still put 3 watermelons in between my knees.
It's bad.
Literally, I was bad. I was bow-legged from hanging on the backside of a lot of horses. So I said, "All right, Shirley, so what do you suggest I do about this?" She says, "I suggest you do this matrix." Well, I watched it for a while, and later that day, I did that. And when I did, it was really interesting that what happened in the next 30 minutes after I took it, that this hand that would lock down, now I had full motion of it and closed that fist as tight as I ever did as a 17-year-old. As I stood up out of that chair, now I was back on my heels, and I had, instead of forward on the balls of my foot, I was back on my heels again, and with that balance that I hadn't experienced in quite some time. Well, this was just in the first few little while, and I knew then. I said, "Shirley, what's this all about?" And she just grinned at me real big. "You'll see." About a year and a half, about a year prior to all this, I'd had an x-ray on this right knee with this chiropractor, and she said, she came back there because I had real problems with that right knee. She said, came back with that x-ray, and she said, "Carrie, here's the deal. You can either live with that pain or get you a new knee, but whichever the case, get off them horses." Man, that ain't going to work. I'm going to trade my good parts for some used parts and put that in there and still not do what I do anyway. What good is that?
Spoken like a true cowboy, I would add.
Yes, yes, sir. It didn't make no sense. So I'm going to keep the parts that I was born with. I don't mind pain. Heck, that's part of life. So as you go on, that was a year prior to the Matrix. 6 months, I had this Matrix on March the 29th, 2019. Advanced forward to September that same year of 19. It's about 6 months later. I go back to see that chiropractor I hadn't seen in more than a year. And I walked into her office because I needed some kind of adjusting around the neck and such. And she came in that office holding her clipboard. "Hey, Carrie, I ain't seen you in a while." I said, "No, ma'am, I ain't seen you neither." She said, "Look," she said, you get something done to that knee?" I said, "No, ma'am, I sure didn't." She goes, "Well, you did something. What was it?" So I told her about this Matrix because in that 6 months I had straightened up. I could bend my knees. Now I could touch them. When I put my feet together, I was straightened out. She goes, "What'd you do?" I told her about this Matrix, and her response was, "That's impossible." And I looked at her, and I looked down at myself, looked back at her, and said, "Ma'am, you're looking at it, and I'm standing on it, so I reckon what you're saying ain't so."
You're looking at it, and I'm standing on it, and I reckon what you're... I love that. That is a quote of a quote. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you go to level10matrix.com.
And this is the point, Lance. Some folks ain't quick with the obvious.
Yeah.
It took her a little while to grasp it, and so she did, and she walked out shaking her head on her clipboard. I tell you what, I walked straight and I ride well, and I didn't do the surgery. I got my original knee, and I'm still on them horses.
Dang. Come on, folks.
I'm 70 going on 51.
Yes.
Well, I love this 70-year-old club here, but the attitude we've got, that's me this year. I'm turning 70, and my goal is to look 60. So what we're going to do is remember, you can call 800-361-2270. And I'm sorry, I'm running out of time, but listen, I got 2 minutes left. Can you explain to me what you think happens? What you guys study with Shirley and Mark, what do you think is happening in a minute or less? What is going on with the stem cell? The Matrix, it works. I hear these wild stories. I don't make them up. They're video testimonies. You're the people. What's going on? Now, we have that graph that I always show how stem cells rapidly decline with age, and they're the building blocks of your body. So, folks, if you're watching this podcast world, just eat your heart out. I got a visual here. I got 1 in 10,000 cells is this healthy stem cell, building your body, expanding you, growing you. 1 in 100,000 when you're in your teens is when you're running around all over the lawn and everything. Then by the time you hit 30, you're in your sports era, and it's 1 in 250,000. But then you start, man, you hit 50, slowing down, 1 in 400,000 cells. And you hit my age, well, younger than that, it's 1 in a million. To 1.1 and 2 million. So no wonder there's aging going on. The stem cell. So you inject like millions of these healthy cells from a healthy, umbilical cord, from the cord blood of the mother into you. It's like, whoosh, you got this army going to work. Anyway, what's your theory on this thing real quick? What do you think's happening?
Well, it starts from the beginning. We're created in God's image. And in that, we are in that image, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And so we have that fullness in us in order to move that way. So this way, God created this body to live and be recreate and refashion itself all along.
And when this spark of life enters into our body, we know that life is in the blood. So life is in the blood. It's also in the cord blood. And when this spark of life comes in, and like you said, these millions upon millions, and they replicate at such an enormous rate. So God is always about multiplication. And when you have a new supply, you've reloaded, and that ratio is literally going the opposite direction. So that aging is not a disease. It's part of getting older, but the reloading with these umbilical cord stem cells, it's why we can feel younger and stronger for longer and actually have the stem cell ratio of somebody, 10 or 15 years younger than what we biologically are. So this is the source of life, and it brings us back toward our original blueprint design.
Yeah.
Man, you got me. You got me sold, and I'm already a product of the product. Level10matrix.com, 800-361-2270. I'm going to keep on doing these stories about stem cells rapidly declining, and then watching people that get the restored function when they get more cells flooding in, because I just think it's a science to it. And I think God gave this to Christians. And God gave it to Christians, and mostly Christians are the ones doing it. So I think it's a blessing. I want you guys to jump on that. I want to thank both of you for doing this. For sometime when you're in Dallas visiting, come let me know, and we'll have you in the studio, and we'll catch up and talk a little bit about, maybe you can help me figure out how to ride a horse. I won't go on a bull, but I might ride a horse. Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless you also.
Carrie and Toni Helms. Hallelujah. I just heard, for the first time, I understand why bow legs. Like, I never understood that. Why would you have bow legs? Well, if you're wrapped around a horse and you're a cowboy, now it makes sense. I never understood why in the Westerns, they're
45 years.
45 years 45. Riding a horse or a bull. Yeah. I guess that would cause your calcium, your legs to be from. All right, we'll see you again tomorrow. You don't want to miss tomorrow's show. We're going to be back to scintillating current events. Catch you then. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world.